All right, here we are with Phil Thompson at the end of the Australian tour, and we had a great time.
We've had an amazing time.
We did a lot of tastings, and Phil visited a lot of distilleries, and we exposed the Australian to what I call probably the most fun thing to come to Scotch whiskey, which is the mystery malt.
Ooh, yeah.
But we got the cherry of the cake, which is our single cask bottlings for Australia. So yeah, we're very lucky that Phil, I would say being an introductory offer, selected really interesting things, things that we haven't seen in a long time at a great price. Tell me a little bit about this cask. The first one, which is one of my favorites, is the Clynelish 12-year-old.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're delighted to kind of be able to bring these in with you to Australia and hopefully expose a new audience who, it's really difficult to order our whiskey often from Europe, so it's good to bring it to Australia and hopefully be able to get it out to people at a really, really reasonable price. So yeah, delighted. So we've picked here, this is a Clynelish, it's 2013, it's aged 12 years old, just over 50% alcohol, and it is from a recharred French oak barrique. So I think during the tastings I've talked that I really love, I'm purist for Clynelish. I want that kind of real distillate driven, waxy refill character, but actually this works really well. That 13 years in the barrique, you've got that kind of nice jamminess to it that works well with that texture that you find in Clynelish, and it kind of builds. It's almost like these kind of like strawberry laces, the sweets with that kind of creamy center. But
I find it very interesting. This for me has characters of being a sherry butt. So it's like that dank, rancio, phenolic, but it's not. This is just coming from the recharge.
I think you find that often with wine casks, ex-wine casks, that it comes on really quick, so finish isn't a good thing. For me personally, I find it kind of comes on too quick. You kind of get a lot of acidity and you lose a lot of balance. But long-term maturation in wine casks is something I've seen a lot of in Australia, especially looking at people like Sullivan's Cove, looking at guys at Starward, and looking at the way that they're working with the wine casks is really, really interesting. The way they're charring them, the way they're toasting them is a lot more thought and consideration than perhaps I think we put in to wine casks in Scotland. And you just have to be cautious, for me, with wine casks, and it's got to be kind of a long-term process. You can't just bludgeon something with some wine. You don't want it to taste like whiskey and wine. It needs to have good integration together. And this isn't, like you said, this isn't particularly winey. It's more on that kind of, does feel like a sherry cask. It feels like an older sherry cask.
The second one that we have is, again, very big age statement. Absolutely stunning. Glengarry. Gary or Geary?
I'd say Geary.
Glengarry.
One man's Geary's another man's
1998.
Great distillery, really great cask. So second fill bourbon barrel over 27 years. And for me, that's just like perfect for a second fill. And sometimes a first fill over that period of time can come on a bit too intense. A bit too kind of woody, and the kind of the tannins start overtaking the spirit. For me, at second fill, 27 years, good strength. It's just really nice. It's brilliant. It's got a lot of fruity character. It has some kind of, you still taste the malt for me. I think you still feel the core ingredients. It's got that kind of touch of yeast and sort of malted barley, a little bit of grist, but it's kind of softened and it's more elegant with the second fill barrel, and it gives it really good balance, really good poise. It's great. Actually.
It's like a mix of like nectarines with seaweed. It has a seaweedy character, which is not iodine. It's just like a marine salinity or like I don't know. Well, it's just the smell of the sea. But it's the smell without the taste or any peat. It's like that smell that you get out of sand dunes.
Like, for sure. Yeah, that's nice. So these labels for this particular series, was our 25th anniversary series for Dorney Castle. So we were like 2025. When these were kind of underway, that was our 25th anniversary. So we picked a bunch of like really good casks to go into glass in this style, and
classic.
Trying to be really clean with the branding, the way it looks, the way it's presented, and we'll probably continue the label. We'll remove the 25th anniversary, which sits on the rear label with a little bit of a spiel about the hotel, the whiskey bar. So it's a good one. I'm really delighted to be able to bring it in. and have them as exclusives for you guys?
So this is a unicorn, basically. It's pretty interesting. Balmore, 19 years old, 2006. So I was buying Balmore of just around 20 years, 19 to 21, 22, for around $600-700 a bottle. And we were selling for around $8 to $1,000. It's like 25-year-olds. Yeah, this is just unbelievable. The quality of the whiskey is super fruity, which is incredible. It's not like one of those like what's it, like put off fireplace.
Yeah,
it's like wet smoke, like just put off fireplace.
It's a nice clean smoke. I like the minerality to it. So kind of nice minerality, really crisp, nice bit of fruitiness to it. It's got all those kind of like crushed oyster shells, a little bit of those kind of wet pebbles that you know, seaside wet pebbles. And again, thinking about what you said about the Glengarry, that kind of sand dune kind of style kind of vibe to it. So it's really coastal, but it has this beautiful kind of fruitiness to it as well, which is really elegant. So we bottled this probably in December, thereabouts. And obviously if we'd waited another 3 months, it would have been 20 years old.
I think this is, in particular, these two is just a tertiary characters, like that's just like age. These compounds that need at least, 15, 20, 18 years average to create, those that you just can't fake with early whiskey. You just can't get those compounds because they just don't
develop
happen
over time in casks.
Correct.
The precursors are there.
Yeah.
I think certainly Bowmore is one of these distillates that's really kind of, for me, it's one of my favourite distillates in Scotland. That and Springbank, I think, are for me personally, my kind of character, that little bit of peat, often quite fruity, quite robust as well, with nice minerality. And I think like Bowmore is just, I love it. For me, I would be quite happy to continue bottling these for a while. But so this is probably for me the pick of the bunch. I think these are both exceptional. Certainly the Clynelish, the Glengarry, they're both different in character. When we did the tasting last night, there's quite a lot of people who just like adored the Clynelish. They preferred that little bit more wood influence, where this is much paler, refill wood, and it's got this lovely kind of minerality to it. And that's kind of what we kind of want. That's what we kind of want to kind of expose and show is like a really clear, clean, distillate-driven Bowmore. But delighted.
Just to clarify, this is not a heavily peated Bowmore at all. This is a very, very, very mildly, and elegant Bowmore. Like this is when just the peat basically is just covered by all these other phenols that you just can't perceive it as much. So it's not that evident there, which actually highlights the fruitiness of the distillate. So very, very classic from maybe like the mid-70s kind of style.
Delish.
Really very good.
Yeah, I love that. So hopefully we'll bring some more Bowmore over.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
I heard there's a couple of interesting things that you've been telling me that you've been receiving on some price lists. So
we're hoping to put out some good casks in the next few months. And also in Thompson Brothers casks, you guys are going to be receiving more stock of our independents, normal Thompson Brothers, plus more exclusives for Casa de Vinos, some of the core products, the mystery malt. So we're really delighted to be kind of hopefully growing our presence in Australia and, trying to expose as many people as possible to good liquid, fair price, what we do in Thompson Brothers. Maybe eventually a little Dornoch cask.
Maybe a Dornoch cask when it comes.
We're starting to get a bit more, stock's getting a bit more mature. We have a bit better availability. Like we talked about, we only produce 12,000 litres of alcohol a year. Very, very little, if that, some years. So there's not a lot of it out there. And but we will start looking at casks this year and seeing where they're sitting. We've got some really nice bourbon barrels sitting around 5-6 years old that we're thinking about bottling and in the next year or so. So it'd be great to get something out over to Australia.
Very nice. Maybe you can come again to present it.
Well,
Whiskey Abbey 2027.
I don't know. I'm pretty damaged about the return trip home, to be honest, at the moment.
If there's no wars.
We could do without that. And then I may have a nice journey home at that point. But it's been great to be here. I've loved it. And I've loved time in Tasmania, visiting the distilleries. It's been brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for the support on the tastings, and not much to wait for this talk to be over. So
Cheers.
I'll see you guys soon.